Today, we are heading to one of the darkest places in America, Rikers Island. It is the largest jail complex in the country, a place still haunted by its violent past. Around 8,000 inmates live here, suspended between past and future, in a shadow world where time feels frozen and reality slowly erodes. They say if you survive Rikers Island, you can survive anywhere. If stories like this matter to you, leave a like and make sure to subscribe. It truly helps us keep going and create new episodes. We put a lot of effort into every story to make it sound honest and powerful. Your support shows that these topics are important and worth telling. Criminal Group presents. There is only one way onto the island, a bridge the inmates call the Bridge of Pain. It is not just a nickname, but a warning that arrives before you even see the first gate. On one side, New York shines with lights, hope, freedom, and life. On the other side ahead, there is a sealed world ruled by bars, orders, and strict control. And even on that bridge, you understand it. What comes next is a reality you can never fully prepare for. The moment you are inside, Rikers teaches its first lesson: be ready for the unexpected. An alarm can go off at any second, and everything changes instantly. Doors slam shut, units go into lockdown, and people begin moving faster than you can understand why. Sometimes the atmosphere alone tells you something serious has happened. During our time there, 9 separate alarms sounded, and every single one felt real. Behind this maze of doors lies the question that drives everything. Can a place seen as explosive for decades actually change? There is too much anger here, too much fear, and too much stored pain. We begin with the most dangerous inmates, those considered a constant threat. For them, the harshest punishment is used: solitary confinement, often called the box. And before anyone judges, it helps to hear what solitary sounds like when it becomes a world of its own. Imagine this: 165 people locked in concrete cells for up to 23 hours a day. Their space is made of walls, dim light, a toilet, and a sink, and almost nothing else. No TV, no normal conversation, no familiar anchors that keep the mind steady. What remains is silence, shouting, banging, and waiting. Even the small slot in the door does not connect them to the outside world, because it shows only a slice of corridor, and the 1 hour outside the cell is not relief. It is a brief transfer into a separate outdoor cage. In the past, isolation here could last with almost no limit, and it left a mark on everyone who went through it. 2 officers are often the only regular human contact for dozens of inmates, and even that contact happens through a door. There is also a strict rule: no conversations through the cell door slots, because it can raise tension and trigger an eruption. Yet tension still builds, because solitary is not just a locked door, it is the feeling of being erased. Here, every sound grows louder, every word becomes heavier, and every movement carries risk. And you begin to understand why this place feels like a separate reality. When officers serve food through a narrow slot, the moment can turn into an attack. What should be routine becomes a test of restraint and professionalism. Inmates use whatever they have, turning even basic items into weapons. There is a specific word for this practice: splashing, when filth and liquid are thrown back, both degrading and dangerous. For an officer, that means risk and arm's length. And in this environment, it becomes easier to understand why people argue about where control ends and desperation begins. People on the outside often see only short fragments, flashes of force, rough restraints, broken pieces of video. But inside, everything is more complex, and every decision has consequences. The core question grows louder: does long-term solitary make people calmer? Or does it create something even more dangerous? Those who spent years there speak of damaged minds and of being changed forever. They describe themselves as ticking time bombs because normal life stops making sense. Prison becomes familiar, while freedom feels frightening and alien. It is also important to remember, most inmates here have not been convicted. They are awaiting trial, living in uncertainty, not knowing how long it will last. A large portion are charged with non-violent offenses, yet the environment can still pull a person into conflict. And sooner or later, most of these people will be released. They will return to cities, neighborhoods, and ordinary buildings where families, children, and elderly people live nearby. That is why what happens inside is not only a question of punishment, but a question of public safety. The system is trying to change, and that creates controversy, fear, and resistance. There are fewer solitary cells now, and time limits have been introduced, breaking old routines. Instead of endless isolation, new units are being built where even dangerous inmates can spend more time outside their cells. These units include programs, activity, and attempts at treatment, but all of it requires extra security and strict discipline. The most radical idea focuses on younger inmates because they are often at the center of violence, and in the air hangs a heavy choice: keep everything as it was, or take a risk for the chance that at least someone might come out different. Officers say it plainly: they did not come here to be punching bags. They know that every decision made above is paid for below, on the floor. Face to face with aggression, they fear that without the threat of solitary confinement, control will weaken and attacks will increase. But supporters of reform answered differently. Solitary did not stop violence, and did not save officers or inmates. They argue that the old model did not solve the problem, it only delayed the explosion. And so the central question remains open: can a place long considered a symbol of brutality be changed, and what will that change cost?